stunning looks than swift.
Demolition job complete. India win by 228 runs after Pakistan are bowled out just for 128 with 3 batters in their 20s. It was just not on for Pakistan. That chase perhaps flattened with the tall ask of the target, as well as the frustration of the weather over the last 2 days. Take nothing away from India. Jasprit Bumrah with the new ball. Kuldeep Yadav, great to see him back among the wickets. Outstanding through the middle. The beauty to get Fakhar Zaman, who ends up being Pakistan's top scorer with 27. That after Virat Kohli and KL Rahul just played India's perfect game as far as their ODI template goes. The top 4 firing and firing them to a score of 356. India win by 228. They take 2 precious points and a very healthy net run rate in the Super 4s of the Asia Cup. These two teams don't play a lot of cricket these days, but when they do, they play for a lot of time. Finally, this game has come to an end, and we look back on it on ESPN Cricinfo Matchday. Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricinfo Matchday, powered by JBL. We'll hear from Urooj, Mumtaz, also Robin Uthappa and Amol Muzumdar. Let me go to Robbie first up. He was a bit safe with his prediction, saying it'll be a 100-run win at the innings break. He could have been a little more brave, but perfect game for India, Robin?
Perfect. I think what was most amazing about it was the way Kuldeep bowled. An absolute stunner of a spell. Just the control, the guile, and his plans, the execution of it was just phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, we want the batters to get runs, Amol, ahead of the World Cup. But the bowlers have barely had much to do. It couldn't bowl against Pakistan in the group game, Nepal too, not quite the most polished performance. Today, Kuldeep with wicket, Jasprit Bumrah with the new ball. How good was that?
Bumrah was fantastic up front. I personally feel that the lengths that he hit and the movement that he derived off the pitch and in the air as well, he was just sensational in the first 10 overs. Just his presence, I guess, brings a lot to the table, and suddenly his presence brings this Indian bowling lineup alive. It's a very potent bowling lineup with Jasprit Bumrah's presence. So I guess he hit the right lens and literally made the ball to talk.
Yeah, did the surface, Robbie, change after the innings break? You said at our mid-innings show that India's bowlers will get more out of it, but that much more. I mean, Bumrah was virtually unplayable against Fakhar Zaman and to a degree even Babar Azam.
Well, there must certainly, as in when Hardik got Babar out, it was just beginning to drizzle. So it was just beginning to drizzle. So you don't, as in, there was great bowling at that point in time, and
you got us, Robbie. You can carry
yeah,
on.
I got you.
Yeah.
So there was I thought he was bowling exceptionally well. I thought India bowled exceptionally well. And I think there was enough in there that wasn't utilized or couldn't be utilized by the Pakistan side, because also, again, overcast conditions yesterday, it rained off. So I'm certain there was a little bit of moisture in there that the Pakistan team couldn't use. But when Fahim was bowling, when you saw him bowling those cutters, you could tell that there was something in that wicket. And I felt that India were able to exploit that when they got a chance to bowl.
Yeah, right. I've got Urooj Mumtaz back now in what clearly is a disappointing effort with bat. We're also discussing whether India's bowlers got more out of the surface, Urooj, or did something happen to it at half-time? But that's a disappointing chase, isn't it?
Yeah, disappointing is what sums it up. I said at mid-innings that yes, 356 is a big and a tall ask, but you have to come out with intent. And I think in spite of the impeccable line from Siraj and Bumrah up front, and Bumrah was exceptional, got the ball to nip back in and dart away from both the left and the right-hander from the perfect length. I just thought that Pakistan lacked intent completely. They were looking to survive. I didn't see any shot that was played which was out of intent or looking to try and force the issue. Nobody's asking you to bash the ball around, but in chasing such a big task, you have to sort of come out in there and play with intent. I do go back to Sri Lanka v Bangladesh in the round match where there was a similar predicament, but the home captain, Sri Lankan captain Shanaka, said that under lights as opposed to the rain equation, he said that under lights, the ball does a lot more, and it sort of played out like that in the end. And just going by that, you look back 48 hours now, and Babar Azam probably got the toss wrong.
Yeah, okay, let's maybe look at that. You can understand, Robin, why he decided to bowl first with the weather, but perhaps in this particular case, as the game has panned out, it was a pretty good toss for India, not to mention, I mean, we have to give them full credit. They had the tougher task of it, and we can see now at the end of the game that they outclassed Pakistan with bat.
Oh, they did. They certainly did. I think with the way they batted, their approach, the start given by both Rohit and Shubman Gill was phenomenal. I think that's the kind of start that you want to have. And taking the attack, as in obviously initially seeing the first 5 overs off and then taking the attack to the Pakistan bowlers, worked to their advantage. And I think they went there and played the national game, which is just great to watch. And again, it's lovely. Like I said, it's lovely to watch Rohit bat the way he does. Initially takes his time, but then catches up, as he feels, as he gets set. And I hope and I pray that he continues with the same template, because that works for him. It's been working for him for all of his career. And that's when he scored most of his runs, or how he scored most of his runs, so to speak. So it's, I think a lot of things, a lot of boxes are getting ticked right now. And they just need to keep going in the same vein for the next few months.
It's a dangerous question to ask, but is this now India's ideal top 4, top 5? It was nice to see Kishan there. He kept for a few overs, but also good to see KL Rahul actually keep a good chunk of overs after that, 25, 26 overs or so. So now, is this India's best batting?
I think so. I mean, they've finally, they've settled with the top 5, I guess. With Shubman and Rohit being in form, Virat being Virat, and KL Rahul coming back and scoring those runs, those important runs. This was such an important game for KL Rahul. I mean, Shreyas Iyer was at number 4, and Ishan Kishan took his place. He scored some runs against Pakistan, so there was a lot of pressure on KL Rahul to perform. And boy, he got 100, magnificent 100, just settling all the arguments of whether he should bat at number 4 or 5, just settling all the arguments over there.
Yeah, Robin, that he kept as well, I guess, is just today has been the real test of KL Rahul's fitness, or is the real test tomorrow, how he recovers or wakes up?
Ever the pessimist, aren't you?
Realist.
It all goes well for him. I think it all goes well for him. The fact that he showed intent to come out there and keep, after scoring 100 like that, I think shows a lot of intent. And it's funny how the game works, right? As in, we were thinking, will KL be fit enough? Will he fit into the number 5 position? And then, as fate has it, Shreyas Iyer has a back spasm. He comes in at number 4, literally seals that and closes the door on number 4. And then number 5, I think Ishan is there, who's done well when the opportunities come along. But superb for KL Rahul. I think Shreyas Iyer will go into that backup slot right now for either KL or for Kishan. And then the wicketkeeper question is, or the discussion is kind of sorted as of now. I think it gives India a lot more of a settled feel going into the World Cup. And this is nice. You just want them to stay healthy and fit, especially KL. The kind of form that he's in, especially when the way he batted today, is just phenomenal. And I think we can hopefully see great things from him this World Cup if he continues to remain fit and healthy.
Two things about KL Rahul. What was noticeable for me is he played square of the wicket. He played those sweep shots, and he got into great positions to play those shots. His feet were moving really well. It didn't look as if he was coming out of a layoff of 6 months. He just looked. He is a class player, but he just translated that potential into performance today. Yeah, fantastic to see.
That India went with him at 4 and Kishan at 5. Urooj, I wonder if we can compare the two India-Pakistan games now. And maybe it's unfair on Shreyas Iyer, who actually looked all right for a very brief innings. But I guess if you see KL Rahul walk out at 4, from an opposition standpoint, that certainly seems like the bigger test. No disrespect to Shreyas, but just like for like what we've seen in these two games, how would you analyze India's best top 4?
Yeah, I said this to you on that game as well, that to me, looking from the outside, India doesn't look like they have middle order problems, because now what Ishan Kishan did in the first game against Pakistan, coming in at 5, and that was a discussion And KL Rahul now, I mean, I'd imagine even if Shreyas Iyer is absolutely fit, KL Rahul probably your best at number 4. Ishan Kishan comes in at 5 because he's got that explosive power, and with that top 4 laying a platform, it gives him all the liberty to tee off. Also provides a left-hander at that within the top 5 as a mix as well, which you saw disrupt bowling lines for Shadab the previous day, albeit Shadab not in the best of bowling forms. So I just feel this will be India's top 5, and then Pandya.
We take Urooj's point. I think it's well made. Yeah, when they get runs, there are no problems. So that way it looks amazing. Yeah, but full credit to Kohli and KL Rahul for setting this game up. Just quickly to close out the Bumrah conversation too. Robin, from a point of view of what you would have liked to see, either in terms of intensity, pace, whatever else, has he ticked every box? I mean, it's ideally we would have liked to see him bowl 10. The situation didn't need it. But assessment of Bumrah on his ODI bowling return?
Yeah, I think initially in that first couple of overs, he looked a little rusty, but once that rust wore off, he really came out there and expressed himself, swung the ball very well, got the ball to seam around, sing a little bit, and got the batsman to dance a little bit. So it was nice to watch. It's everything that you expect of Bumrah. And I think he ticked a lot of boxes. Yes, ideally you would have liked him to bowl 10 overs and bowl some in the depth as well, so he gets that match practice as well. It goes a long way when you're coming back from an injury to just have that reassurance, not confidence, but just reassurance that, yeah, I still got it, that I think will come in the games to come, provided hopefully when there's no rain. But he's looking really good.
Between Hardik and Shardul also, who are supposed to be India's, you could say, the complementary bowlers or the bowlers that batters will take on. That's 9 overs, 2 for 33 between them, and some pitches. What accounted for that?
Shardul Thakur is a wicket taker. There's no doubt about it. I mean, his mindset is that way. I've spent a little bit of time with him, so I know that he's a very aggressive kind of a fast bowler who always goes for a wicket. Possibly every ball he would love a wicket. That's what mindset he has. But at the same time, Hardik Pandya was fantastic today. I mean, he was hitting the right lens, and he was getting some movement off the surface. The one he got Babar Azam out with was a peach of a delivery.
Yeah. That Urooj made the point a little while back on. Yes, we tend to see it does more under lights. But what about what accounts for the success of Kuldeep, Urooj, as we try and compare now where Pakistan got it wrong with the ball? Clearly he had a wrist spinner who wasn't at the top of his game in Shadab. Kuldeep, on the other hand, was again with an extension of Bumrah and the seamers, hard to play or almost unplayable today.
Yeah, almost unplayable, and not just that, he was getting grip and purchase of the surface to take the ball away from the left-hander. But at one point, he was bowling the wrong one to Iftikhar, which I thought at one point even KL Rahul went down the wrong side. So he's outfoxing a lot of people at the other end. So it's not just that. Also in his post-match interview, he did mention that he's obviously been working very hard and very mindfully of the lengths that he has to bowl. And when given the conversation or the question that, so did you have plans ready for the opposition? So he was very, very confident in his demeanor and his answers, that he knew exactly what to do, who to bowl, what lengths, and he's been following the batters, and he's played against them once or twice before. So I thought that oozes of confidence, and when you have got that kind of control and execution with 3 deliveries, yet got the one that slides in quicker as well. So I thought he outfoxed Pakistan, and 5-wicket first time. I think that's a potent weapon that is coming good for India.
Yeah, I can tell you, Urooj, he gives damn good interviews. Kuldeep Yadav. He's an interviewer's dream. There will be a detailed answer for every batter or every wicket that he's got, and how he would have got the ones that he didn't.
He had the performance to back it up.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is the reason why perhaps he is the lone wrist spinner, and India are very happy with that call. Of course, there would be debate which will go on whether they could do with Chahal or Ashwin or more spin options, but Kuldeep Yadav for the moment outranks every other Indian spinner. Let's have a quick chat on Pakistan too, shall we? And what we can learn from this. We've spoken already about how they just got their length wrong. It wasn't the ideal bowling effort. We empathize with Babar for losing Haris Ruff today. But let's talk batting too, Urooj. Do you sense this is going to be Pakistan's biggest test come the World Cup? A target in excess of 315, 320, 330 with the kind of start or approach that Fakhar and Imam tend to have. Is that a concern going forward?
Yeah, that's probably been the biggest concern for Pakistan, that, explosive top order start that you get. You know what you're going to get with Babar Azam. He plays a very similar innings to, say, Virat Kohli, where he takes his time, constructs the innings, and accelerates considerably towards the back end. But what he does need is someone like a Shubman Gill on the other side. We know Fakhar Zaman can do that, and he's got the numbers and the innings to back it up. But they're coming off too far away from each other, and I think that's something that he needs to look at. Fakhar Zaman, Imam ul Haq again against the moving ball, always has had these issues as well, and we saw again today. So that's probably where Pakistan is. They do lose considerable number of matches in scores, as you mentioned, 270 maybe a plus. Whether they like chasing or not is not the issue, and they've always had problems setting scores because, again, they don't have that firepower that tees off in a commanding fashion. So that's something that Pakistan will struggle with. You even saw Mohammad Rizwan sometimes with the moving ball. He almost is sometimes a sitting duck kind of a target, because he throws his bat out at everything and then sometimes comes through the gate or gets nicked off behind. So leaving too much for Iftikhar and Salman to do, who might have played a lot of domestic cricket, but in the ODI format are still relatively new, those numbers. So on paper, we do have 3 of the top 10 ODI ranked batters, but the Asia Cup hasn't gone their way so far. So come the World Cup, the last game or two might be all they have.
Robin, from what you've seen of this Pakistan side, is there a potential tweak or a solution in it? I mean, we can always talk about, say, Babar at the top and Fakhar perhaps at 3, or should we not really get carried away with one game?
Yeah, ideally, I'm not the type of person who would get carried away by one game. I thought you got to give credit where it's due. India bowled exceptionally well, got the ball to swing and seam and really, do a lot. And you got to understand that generally in international cricket, you don't really encounter swinging conditions very, very often. And if you go by the way cricket's evolved right now, you play a lot of T20 cricket than one-day cricket. And when you do play one-day cricket, it's on flat batting tracks or flatter tracks compared to perhaps what we used to get in the past. So the game has changed a lot. So a lot of the batters aren't necessarily used to playing swing as much as they did 5-7 years ago, or even 8-10 years ago. So it has become a little bit of a challenge when the ball does swing and seam. And that's when you see the likes of Bumrah and Shaheen Afridi being, their absolute best. Even when, Shaheen Shah was bowling in that first game against Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli and Shubman Gill, they looked a little listless, right? And that's what makes him the kind of bowler that he is. And we were able to give him credit at that point in time, saying he bowled exceptionally well, one of the best bowlers in the world today. Similarly, Bumrah and Hardik and Shardul and Siraj bowled really good areas today, hit the right areas, were able to trouble them. And even if they try to induce a shot, it was a risk-taking shot. And at that point, when you've lost a couple of wickets early, you're not able to take that kind of risk, or you don't want to take that kind of risk. You want to kind of bat it out and hope that the ball stops swinging and seaming, which it didn't happen. So it was gonna be a case of, you got to back yourself and try and go after it and hope that, you get a score, or you try and negotiate and try and attack the spinners, which Kuldeep Yadav and Jadeja did a great job of, which I think the pressure that the fast bowlers put, Kuldeep was able to reap the rewards of it.
Yeah, I mean, if they would have got, say, 260, 270 and still lost because this was too tall an ask, you wouldn't be too concerned. But with 128, if you were part of that batting unit, would you be concerned in any way?
Definitely, I would be. When as Robin said, that the ball was moving around, I just wanted to, think a little out of the box. Urooj just now mentioned about the intent in the first 10-15 overs. Could they tinker with the batting order a little bit when they're chasing a tall score like 356? And at times in World Cup, probably you might get these scores where, in Indian conditions at least, that you will be scoring a tall score. Could they tinker with Mohammad Rizwan just going up the order, taking the load off Imam ul Haq and getting that batting order a little bit down, Fakhar Zaman coming down, or either ways, Fakhar Zaman staying up and Mohammad Rizwan opening the innings with him. So, there could be a talk in the Pakistani dressing room tonight and possibly sorting this out, because they will be playing in Colombo.
Yeah, you batting coaches like to have your 1-2-3 set, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's
Yes,
no.
but
Actually, that question was for Urooj.
okay,
that
let me
can-
put it to
Yeah,
Urooj.
yeah.
But I'll tell you what. I
Can
think
they do it? I mean, she said about intent. So,
Yes.
is there a guy who can show intent right up top of the order?
Okay, Urooj, if you want a quick response to that.
I mean, see, I don't think Pakistan will tinker with that. They don't like to change things around. And with Mohammad Rizwan, see, what Robin pointed out was probably the primary crux of the whole thing, the moving ball, and with impeccable lens from all four seamers, in fact. So it's slightly difficult to go after the ball. On a personal note, I'd like Pakistan to be flexible in white ball
Yep.
throughout. It's slightly difficult for them to, they come out with 1-2-3 scripted. I'd like for them to look at situations, play the situation of the game rather than what you think is best. And when sometimes that can happen in a big game, you never know. But I don't think Pakistan will.
Yeah. Yes, Robbie.
And I don't think Pakistan should, honestly, because I think come the World Cup, you're playing in India, it's going to be flat batting tracks. You're not going to get the ball swinging and seaming at that point in time. You probably will get it in the second half of the World Cup a little bit because you're entering the winters, so to speak. And even that hits a little later right now. So in those conditions, the ball tends to do a little bit, but I don't think the ball will swing and seam as much as it did right now, because I think it did because there were so many overcast conditions and the bowlers bowl exceptionally well. So, and if you're trying to kind of close the gap between Fakhar and Babar, they're batting at opening at number 3. So I don't know how much you're going to kind of, get them closer together. They're right there.
Also, you probably rely on your top three, which are your best three, to play out the most difficult situation if the ball is seaming around. So you probably give them the best chance to survive it or come out with intent rather than. I mean, in the middle order, you can understand moving 4, 5, 6, 7 around if need be, but probably the top three not ideal to move around.
Yeah, absolutely. Fair enough. I think everyone's made their point quite well. I think Robin's point is valid. When Pakistan do come to India for the World Cup, I don't think they're going to see the swinging ball. It's not something we're going to serve out to our guests and also for the hosts. So let's leave this as just specific to Sri Lanka.
Always the last one.
But question must be asked. About what Pakistan do without Haris Rauf and potentially Naseem Shah. That's a big blow, Urooj. From what I gather, Haris might well be out for the rest of the Asia Cup. Let's hope he recovers in time. But how do they kind of pick that up going into the game against Sri Lanka in a few days? Potentially the final if they get that one right. So options are there, Mohammad Wasim Jr. But what else can they do here with the injuries, and how concerning is that?
Well, Haris Rauf is big. He's huge in terms of pace, what he brings in the middle, and especially the death overs in terms of his wicket-taking ability. So he's one of the trump cards that Pakistan will miss. I don't think, I mean, as important as Asia Cup is, but if it's allowing him to rest and recoup and be fit for the World Cup, I don't think he should play any more matches. We do have Mohammad Wasim Jr., who I advocate highly because he's got that wicket-taking ability. Where they play him in terms of sharing the new ball, he'll obviously play a similar role to Haris Rauf and bowl at the back end, which again, he is very good. So I think at the moment, it's not that much of a problem. Then Pakistan do have some quick speedsters in the ranks if it comes to a point where Haris Rauf can't play into the World Cup. They've got Zaman Khan, they've got Ehsanullah. So those two boys who are quick with their pace do lie in the ranks at the moment. But the news is that he should be okay. So if he misses the 2 games of the Asia Cup, they do have Mohammad Wasim Jr. at the moment.
All right, something for the Pakistan think tank to just work out. They have, thankfully, a few days off now. Now, before we close things up with Urooj, Robin and Amol, it is time once again for our JBL Mute the World Player of the Day. Time to put on my JBL Tour 1 M2 headphones, and this is almost a fitting segment for KL Rahul. So we'll put him there. He loves that celebration where he actually cancels the noise out. That's what these babies are for, and they're damn good at it. But as we've seen the whole day now with Rahul not only batting 106 balls, that record partnership with Virat Kohli where his fitness was tested, and then Robin Uthappa coming back to keep wicket as well for 20-25 overs. How do you look back on this performance from KL Rahul? How would he be feeling right now? You know the guy so well, you've played with him. Such a big game for him, wasn't it?
You know, I'd have to say a fairy tale comeback, honestly, because I think 6 months off from the game to come back into international cricket in an India-Pakistan game and score 100 and set it up for your team to win. and keep wickets well as well. So, he didn't look out of sorts at all behind the stumps. He actually looked pretty much in control and looked really good. So for me, I think all boxes ticked. Now we can only hope and pray that he continues to remain fit and healthy. That's the only concern with KL Rahul. There's nothing else that ails him.
Yeah, I guess even the celebration at the 100, Amol, was one that told us in some ways how much this performance would have meant to him.
Absolutely. I mentioned earlier that this was a very crucial game for him. He knew it. Everyone knew it. And he just came out there and delivered whatever. I think that Indian team management will have a sigh of relief tonight when they go back to their hotel rooms, that all boxes are ticked out of this game. They had a reserve day and it paid off.
Yeah, and Urooj, as you try and tick or assess a batter coming back from a long layoff from injury, what kind of form he's in as far as his shots go? Some of the shots we saw from KL Rahul, I guess you couldn't be any happier if you're in that Indian camp.
Yeah, quite exceptional actually. It was a treat to watch him play, and I think it was Robbie who mentioned earlier. He got into fantastic positions as well, and he played all around the park, which is again a testament to the fact that he's probably 100% recovered and doesn't have any niggles in terms of his. Because when you're coming back from injury, you're always got in the back of your head that what if. I didn't see that what if because of the way he moved at the crease. So that was probably one huge tick for him. So even if he had scripted it, I'm sure he couldn't have scripted a better return to solve India's problems in 4-5. That argument that's been so important, or such a big argument or a discussion, if I say, and then to do it in the manner that he did it in, it was a complete commanding innings, and what a knock to come back. He's probably smashed that door open for a while.
Yeah, and I would love to ask the batters here, Urooj, to how much you'd rate that 6 of Shadab Khan stepping out and just whipping it over me. Yeah, that was some reaction. What was your reaction when you saw that shot?
Wow.
Yeah, just wow. Right?
Yeah,
that's a wow shot.
He stepped out and the ball actually was outside off stump and he just flicked it towards deep mid wicket, corner. What a shot!
Robbie, was that just you going, whew, wow, when you saw that?
Yeah, that was exactly what my reaction was when I was watching it on television. I'm like, what was that? And he was not close to the ball at all. He was a little away from the ball. The use of the wrists and tells you that that's a sign of a man in proper form. So that when he played that shot, I was telling my wife, 100 man, he's getting 100 today.
Yeah, and Urooj, I mean, on a day where Shadab's had a tough day, I noticed his reaction too when he turned around. That's probably one of his better balls he's bowled.
I mean, I'm sure he would have probably inside, without giving much away, would have said, wow, like a bloody good shot, which it was. And it came off a fantastic inning. So you could only but applaud that shot and of course, the entire Indian effort.
Brilliant from KL Rahul then, as I take out my JBL 2-on-M2 headphones and congratulate Rahul on becoming our JBL Mute the World Player of the Day. And yes, Shreyas Iyer to thank as well, but for that little niggle, I don't think Rahul was looking likely to play in this 11. So that's just how the Indian team's revolving door works. If someone comes in, gets it, they shut the door on the rest. So excellent from KL Rahul, and of course we can't forget Virat Kohli. What an innings from him. We've heaped praise and look back at that innings at our halftime show, so do catch up on that. The questions now will be though, how do India respond tomorrow, given this has been a mentally, physically draining game? Robin, with a lot of players, you're still having to keep an eye out on workload, or are you not? Are you saying, no, it's fine, they had a big break before this, it's okay if they're playing 3 days on the trot, I want Bumrah tomorrow, I want KL tomorrow? Is that the way you'd go, or do you think, no, this is a game you got to be careful about?
Well, your guess is as good as mine, I'd imagine. Simply because, with the Indian team, we kind of debate a lot of things, but eventually, it's only on that day that we know, okay, what's actually going to happen. And, I think tomorrow, I wouldn't mind seeing KL Rahul get a break. Because, I think a lot has happened in the last couple of days, just coming back from injury. You've got him in a sweet spot. You probably want to keep him there. Probably give Shreyas Iyer a go and see how he goes at number 4. And, and because everyone at the batters, you've got Rohit Sharma's got runs, Shubman Gill's got runs, Virat Kohli's got runs, KL Rahul's got runs, Ishan Kishan's got runs, and Hardik Pandya's got runs. So it'll be nice to get even, Shreyas Iyer to get in that mix and build that confidence among the World Cup group. If I were thinking about how do I keep these guys in the right space for the World Cup, I'd love to give Shreyas Iyer a go.
I saw as you were making those mentions of those names, you got happier with each, thinking, yeah, now this whole batting is set.
Yeah,
even I was
it
getting
certainly
that
is.
thought. What would you like to do if you were managing this team, Amol? Would you sense that, yeah, Rahul just coming back, this is too much for him, and we could very well be keeping in the afternoon tomorrow, in like less than 12 hours time. So is it a case of breaking that up? There's still 2 games potentially against Bangladesh in the final.
Personally, I would not tinker with the 11. They purely because they haven't played enough cricket together in the last 2 or 3 months. If you see West Indies, we had a lot of absentees in the playing 11. So our main players were not there. So this team, it needs a little bit of game time together before the World Cup and an important Australia series as well. So I think if you ask Rahul, and if he's fit enough in his mind and physically, then I think there's no need to change anything. You need to give him another go, and if you want to keep him in the sweet spot, best place is 22 yards.
I mean, you look at just Pakistan today, Urooj, questions on the fitness of 2 of their frontline bowlers. India can ill afford such a situation, but has the 32 over dismissal of the Pakistan innings perhaps encouraged you if you were going to pick your bowlers and say, yeah, okay, Bumrah just bowled 5, we can possibly play him tomorrow?
Yeah, I'd imagine so. I think barring KL Rahul, who batted for the longest period of time and kept wicket, it was only Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill who played yesterday, and most of the bowlers bowled 5 over spells. I'm talking about fast bowlers, or 6 over spells. So I think if you all in all look at it, and KL Rahul is doing okay, and if Shreyas Iyer is not okay, I don't see a change in the 11. And if Shreyas Iyer is feeling okay, I think probably give KL Rahul a rest more than anything else. Apart from that, like everybody's been mentioning, India's been short on game time and complete 50 over game time. Going into the World Cup, yes, they've got 3 games against Australia after this, but then still, getting the group together is very important.
I don't know why I'm asking the 3 of you this. Another 10 minutes, we'll find out the answer anyway. I think the toss is about to take place at the Premadasa. Everybody
they're
can
warming up.
Yeah, everyone can just take out their bunk beds or their sleeping bags and carry on. But good times return for Indian cricket. Before I leave these 3, I'm going to ask them who their player of the match is going to be. Virat Kohli has been adjudged player of the match for today, which is always an interesting one when you have 2 centurions. Or do you sometimes give it to the bowler who gets the 5 first? So you have Kuldeep, Rahul and Kohli as genuine contenders. The official player of the match is Virat Kohli. Amol Muzumdar?
Kuldeep Yadav.
Kuldeep Yadav for you.
I would have given to the youngster.
All right, Robin Uthappa?
KL Rahul.
KL Rahul. Okay, and Urooj Mumtaz?
Yeah, KL Rahul. He's the one who set the game up.
Ah, come on. I would give it to Kohli. So, there you go. There you have it. Yeah.
That's why you're asking the questions.
Yeah, I don't know. No one asked me anything. 122 of 94. Awesome innings from Virat Kohli. 13,000 runs. Milestone moment. 47th ODI 100. The glory days have returned and India have put in a serious performance. This game has finally come to an end. Thank you very much to Robin Uthappa, Urooj Mumtaz and Amol Muzumdar. There will be plenty more coming from them as we now approach the final week of Asia Cup cricket. We're already into the final week of Asia Cup cricket. India Sri Lanka straight away tomorrow. Look forward to your company then on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricinfo Matchday, powered by JBL. Good night.
Stunning looks, then swift.
Make sure you download the ESPN Cricinfo app to stay updated with the very latest from the world of cricket.